right, we're back at it again. I have read Shadows by Paula Weston. Shout out my Aussie authors over here. She's an Australian author, which is lovely. And yeah, this is the first book in the Requiem. I'm going to go with Requiem. Tell me in the comments below if I'm saying it wrong. First book in the Requiem series. There is 4 books and it is a completed series, which is fabulous. I am so glad that I'm finally reading a book that's a part of a series that is a finished series. I don't have to now wait 5 years and remember all the characters from day dot, right? I can just read them bang, bang, bang in succession. Fantastic. Let's get started. So, this is about a girl named Gabby Winters. She is trying to recover from the loss of her twin brother who died 1 year ago, and then she uncovers that she is a half angel, i.e. a Requiem, the name of the book series. She, alongside Rafe, who is another half angel, and a bunch of other half angels, are trying to discover why she can't remember her past and to figure out if her brother Jude is alive. So this is a mystery, I guess kind of murder mystery, fantasy. It is YA. I haven't read a YA book in a hot minute because I'm a hoe for spice. But I didn't know that when I bought the book. I actually bought this book from an op shop. We'll get into that a bit later. So, the pacing of this book is actually not that big. It's it's slightly smaller than one of the kind of average size of a book, the stock standard size. And the font is also pretty in the middle of the page, and it's not too small. So, it's only 389 pages long, which might be a bit more kind of middle kind of length, but honestly it falls a bit more on the shorter side because of that spacing and the how big the book is, right? So it is actually fast paced, which you guys know I'm a hoe for fast paced book. I love it when they're just like this. This is the first time where I'm fuck man, gotta slow down. This is way too fast paced. Paula, what's her name? Oh my God, Paula Weston, not Paula Winter, sorry. Paula Weston, she has a habit of, you know how back in primary school, when you were doing story writing, they're always oh, you need to show rather than tell. And then you spend 1 page describing a tree and you're yeah, cool, I'm set. So I feel Weston low-key kind of took a page out of that, where she shows the most irrelevant things. She'll have a 1-page spread on bloody Gabby's bedroom. Or the library she works at. I'm okay, that's nice. Or what Rafe looks like. I'm that's also nice. But maybe you could flesh out, the backstory of the angels, the half angels, what a fallen angel is, what all this is over the course of the book. But no, what she does is, I've never seen this, and I'm this is such poor writing. I kind of hate that she did this. She got the main character Gabby and her best friend Maggie to Wikipedia the angels. And then, you know how in Wikipedia you can click in to certain things that have hyperlinks and then you keep opening, if it's oh, fallen angels are part of Requiem, and then you're what's Requiem? And then they essentially do that for 2 pages. And I'm wait, I don't know what's going on. It was such an info dump. I hated it. And it just meant that when they refer to these things later in the book, I'm wait, I don't know what you're talking about. I had to go and Google it. And it was just so painful. It was awful. I just feel I really hope, and honestly, this whole book is kind of an info dump. For example, there's so many characters they introduce, right? They introduce Gabby, Rafe's friends, other people, other half angels, which is what Gabby is called. She's a half angel. Other half angels, and then the leaders of the half angels, the demons, people in the town that Gabby lives in. I'm this is so overwhelming. There's so much going on. Everyone's trying to fight to get their backstories told. And I'm I don't know what's happening. It's really hard. So I honestly just really, really did not like the writing of this book. I know it's weird because I gave it 3 stars, but it has potential. But the writing in this book is just so fast-paced, I need to calm down, right? And as to whether this book is plot or character-driven, 100% plot. There is absolutely no character growth, nothing. It's just like, all right, here's Gabby. All right, here's Rafe. All right, Rafe, sorry. Here's Maggie, the best friend. Here's Simon, the guy who works at the bar, who's friends with Gabby and Maggie. Here's a bunch of other people who are half angels. Like, figure it out, right? It's like, it's just, I don't think I've ever been introduced to so many characters at once. And as I said, this is only the first book in a 4-book series. I'm praying that this book is just way too fast paced so that it can set up for the next like few books, right? So I'm really praying that like the second book is a lot more fleshed out. Like I really want to know all these people's backstories. And yeah, I just want to get a better understanding of, you know, the angels, the half angels, the Rephium, the demons, what's going on between them. And, you know, there's like so much going on. I'm hoping they flesh that out a bit more than just the Wikipedia page, right? And yeah, so there's that. But as for the characters that they do introduce, one thing that I appreciate, so Gabby originally thinks that she's 18 years old because she's got her memory wiped, right? But in reality, she's like 100 and something years old. So all the other half angels are kind of band together with Gabby and Rafe. They've all known each other for like 100 years. So they're like this. And I kind of love that, right? It's like found family, essentially. Because you find out that apparently all of the mothers who give birth to these half angels die in childbirth. And then Nathaniel, who's kind of like the lead of the Rephium. I'm pronouncing Rephium in like 20 different ways. I apologize. He kind of takes the babies from all the mothers and he's like, all right, you're all under my wing. You're mine now. So it's kind of found family vibes, which I really love. But I think the interesting thing about this book is usually with found family, they don't know each other beforehand and then they get to know each other. And it's like a bit more of a natural progress where it is, but isn't Weston's fault because it's her fault because she's like, I chose a book to be this way. But isn't because of the way the story's kind of set up where Gabby has memory loss and doesn't remember anyone and doesn't even remember that she's a half angel, right? Half angel. But everyone around her does. Everyone around her that is a half angel, they know who she is. So they have that kind of intimacy with her, right? They're friends with her. They love her. They care for her. Where else she's just like, everyone piss off. I don't know who you are. So it's like kind of found family, but at the same time kind of just existing like friends. So it doesn't hit as much, but I'm hoping, as I said, in the kind of next book that they flesh it out a bit more and you kind of really get to see those relationships blossom. And I don't just mean like romantic. I mean like friendships as well, right? Because I love romantasy. This book isn't really romantasy. It's YA fantasy mystery. So you can tell there's a bit more kind of, what's it called? They're a bit more like, not into, what is it called? Focused, my bad. They're a bit more focused on the friendship kind of aspect, which is lovely. But going on to romantic relationships, there is one. So Gabby and Rafe, it's kind of like, you can really tell Rafe is into Gabby. He does mention that in her kind of like past life as a half angel, they hate each other. They like work alongside each other to fight all like the demons and whatnot, but they despise each other. And he only is kind of into her because he has this thing going where he wants to bed all the half angels and he hasn't bed her yet. So he's really flirty with her, really infatuated in her. But then you kind of find that out and I'm like, ew, that's kind of gross. But then you can kind of see throughout the book that that's like one of the only things that kind of flesh out. We can kind of see that he actually does care for her. And like the spice level in this book, it's a YA. It's only 1 like heart out of 5 of spice. She max on with 2 people. You know, they get handsy. She almost has sex with Rafe, but doesn't. So the spice is like, it's kind of there. But obviously this is YA, so I actually don't think it will grow, which is fine, right? Again, I did not know this when I bought the book because I bought it from it. Now we're going to go into the op shop story, a bit of a sidetrack here. So I went op shopping, I don't know, somewhere in the burbs, and I found this book. And I was like, oh, cool. It looks, on the top it says not sexy. Scary, sexy. And I was like, oh, sexy. Yeah, got me fucking like 5 out of 5 spice. Let's go. No. Don't put sexy in the front when it's YA. That's weird. Like, I had to look up. I was like, what is YA? It's like 12 to 18. I'm like, okay. But still, like, I don't think you should be letting 12-year-olds read something that says sexy on the front. And I will say, that I recommend, this is to the parents out there or anyone who wants to gift this to a young kid. I would recommend this for like 16 plus because like there is no sex, like kind of explicit sex scenes, but there's so many sexual innuendos. They share a couch twice. There's a lot of touching. Even when they're about to have sex, you know, there is like descriptive words. They talk about nipples and all this fun stuff. So it is still pretty hot and heavy. And I feel like when I was 12, if I was caught reading something like this, I'd be smacked over the head with the book itself. So I'm grateful that it's pretty small, but still, right? But yeah, overall, it's a decent book. Let me bring it back. It's a decent book. Like not amazing. I'm not going to lie. Now that I'm saying I'm giving it a 3, I low-key want to give it a 2 because the writing was just so friggin' poor. But I'm going to give it a 3 because I'm holding out that the next books will be better. And the reason why this was just so, it felt like this needed to be, I know sometimes a lot of books can drag on. Like, you know, you pick up a book that's like 800 pages and you're like, is it really that important? But I feel like this book would have been better off if it was like a couple of extra pages, longer. Like, I feel like this book shouldn't have been like just under 400 pages. It should have been longer because, or she kind of made a longer book series instead of it making it 4 books, making it like 5 books and then kind of splashing out all the introductions across 2 books because this is just like way too much. And if the second book is this fast paced, then I'm going to have to cut it off because look, I have this need to read like a series back to front. Like, for example, this is random rant. Lord of the Rings, I'm sorry. That series sucked, but I read it back to front every single book and it was painstaking. I know as much as I want to be like, I'm going to DNF it. Like, if the second book sucks, I feel like I'm going to read the whole 4-book series. So I'm praying that it's good. That if I need to read it, at least I'm reading something solid. And yeah, that's actually, no, it's not it because I had my op shop story. So when I went op shopping, I bought this book. I realized it was the first of the series. I made sure to at least check that. But one thing that I highly suggest you do if you go to op shops is if you pick up a book that's a part of a series, just do a quick Google to make sure that the rest of the books, if you really like the first one, that the rest of the books are readily available. I looked this up and like I can buy a pre-read version for like 12, 13 bucks off of like eBay or something. And I'm like, eh. And then I can buy for like 50 bucks somewhere else and nowhere else. So this is so hard to find. And none of my libraries have it. They only have ebooks. And as I said, I love physical books. I love to hold a book, smell a book. Okay, well, this is my book, so I can smell my books. It's fine. But like, you know, I can't with like kind of fucking like holding my phone and doing this kind of business. It needs to be a physical book. So the rest of the series I'm going to have to read on my phone as an ebook. So learn from my mistakes. If it's the first of a series, quick Google search. If they don't have that many copies of the rest of the series readily available, just buy the entire series or as many books as you can from the op shop. Because I'm sure someone didn't just drop this one off. Or maybe they did because I hated it. I don't know. But I'm like highly likely they didn't just drop this off and then call it a day. I'm sure they dropped all of them off and I was just an idiot and only picked up the first one. So learn from my mistakes. Buy the whole series from an op shop if you go op shopping. We got a bit off track here, but overall, okay series. Yeah, decent setup. I hope the next book is just like actually fast paced. This is not even fast. This is like fucking like Super Saiyan mode pace. This is way too fast. Just be a bit slow. That's all I ask. But anyway, thank you so much for your attention and I'll see you guys next time.